Huyo kukasirika. Hiyo makasirika. Sura mbaya.
Wewe hoja songe bana.
Hiyo ni ruka.
Karanja. Wapi Karanja? Niko hapa naitwa Karanja. Amjambo. Amjambo tena. Shenzi sana. Because kwa nini nawaita nyinyi ni washenzi? Tangu tulipotoka hapa hata maji hatujakunywa. Unasikia hivyo? Na kabla sija wasomea na sisi pia bila kula, na ametupatia. There is a friend of mine here in the print agreement that is favorable to what we want. Kwa hivyo nataka pia management ambao tuko nao hapa Kenya Airways kwa kuvumilia na kukaa vile mlivyokaa namna hivyo. Sisi tumesema kama kawaida hatupendi strike. But strike sometimes is prompted by a situation that you cannot run away from. And when you have a responsive government that responds to the needs of those who want the same needs, then you are sure of achieving what you want. Kwa hivyo, on behalf of our organization, on behalf of COW, and I want to thank the leadership of COW under Mos Ndiema. It is committed leadership and leadership that is forthright. Na nataka pia kuchukua nafasi hii kushukuru serikali kwa kutupatia waziri kutoka kwa ofisi yake kukaa na sisi kutoka usubuhi mpaka saa hii bila kunywa maji, bila kufanya nini. Waziri, kabla sijasomea hawa, hii agreement ni mzuri. Wacha nimpe waziri time awasalamie, alafu niwasomee waziri.
Our Secretary General, COTU, Dr. Francis Atwoli. Kula lunch. Waja nijaribu tena. Secretary General COTU, Dr. Francis Atwoli, the management of Kenya Airports Authority led by Henry Agoya, Bwana Alan Kilavuka and the entire team, of course, your Secretary General, members of the media, good afternoon. Lunch. I think it's a good opportunity to be here with you today. This afternoon is going to read for us to appreciate what we've done together. The challenge we have faced over time and which has become an embarrassment for our country, because we do all agree that we need a new airport. We need a new investment. When visitors arrive during the El Nino, you all appreciate how the whole place was leaking. The facilities that could boost our dimensioned visitors from 4 million to the kind of numbers that we see in other developing economies. Kenya being the anchor state that we are, servicing through the port of Mombasa, the North up to be able to stay competitive and remain the kind of anchor state we ought to be into our country. The challenge we have had in not having to communicate, I think we've had the challenge of communication with government. And today and over the few weeks, we have attempted to communicate. There was a bit of a lapse of communication in the way we've carried the public initiated, privately initiated investment by Adani in this airport, because we do appreciate that we have a PPP Act which allows private investors to seek opportunities to invest. And when this is done, we do negotiate on certain parameters. We negotiate on what you might have come to understand as what would be the return on equity we are going to allow them. We negotiate on the debt equity ratio because ordinarily equity is expensive. And because equity is expensive, you don't want the debt equity ratio to be significantly, or the equity to be significantly high. So at a debt equity ratio of 30-70, 30 being equity and 70 being debt. You know, when you borrow foreign currency or foreign denominated loans, you can borrow at 8-9%, maybe today up to 10%. But for equity, you can get equity, given the market today, you can get it up to 18%, 16%, maybe 15%. So when you do a debt equity ratio of 30-70, we do appreciate that the equity part will be slightly expensive. But the beautiful thing is that we price down percentage of equity so that whereas equity is expensive, it is only 30%. So these are some of the disclosures. These are some of the disclosures we have not carried us along to understand what exactly we are doing. Then next time we'll have a loudspeaker so that we can communicate well. So with the disclosure that we need to make, what kind of timelines are we looking at so that when the concession agreement is processed through the PPP Act, and there's a very articulate process, which will include coming to the board of JKIA, it will include getting the legal opinion from the Attorney General, it will include going to Cabinet, it will include taking the concession agreement to Cabinet. And I want to assure you, Cabinet is here to protect the interest of our Kenyans. Unajua, hiyo ni sawa, mtanisikiza na nitawasikiza pia, hakuna shida. I will listen to you and you listen to me. What we have agreed today, and why don't we be patient to each other? Kwa sababu si Secretary General amesema tumekubaliana na kuna maandishi tumekubaliana. So let me allow the SG to basically read through what we have agreed, how we are going to work together, and build consensus on way forward. And I don't see any points of divergence if we are talking to each other, if we are communicating. So we have agreed that we'll work with your, si pengine Diema, so you are going to represent your members. Ama itakuwa namna gani? Yeah. So I think it is important that we have agreed, we have